What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, joined as always by Robert DeFelice.
Tony, we have to be quick. We have to meet our deadline.
Oh, we do. We have. I'm going to give us not a hard deadline here. I'm going to see if we can get this in at under 30 minutes. Not like to rush, but I think we can
honor the Iron Survivor Challenge 25-minute runtime.
25 minutes plus a little bit of plugs. I'll give us a little bit of leeway. So anyway, the men's I start talking really fast. I can't do that with this breathing issue going on. If you know what that's like, you've been around for over a year, and thank you for that. We usually do our whole spiel here. We're going to run down the NXT deadline pay-per-view card. We're going to 5 matches that we're going to talk about here. I don't think they're going to be adding anything else, but there could be some changes to the card, at least in 2 of the matches that they kind of tossed out the idea that they might switch a little bit. So as we give our predictions, we want to know what you have to say. Drop your thoughts in the comments section below on YouTube, or if you're over there, then make sure you click on all the different buttons so you can see on your screen. That'll help us out. On the thanks button, the like button, the subscribe button, the join button. If you do click on that join button, by the way, you get access to all sorts of different things. Not only do you get early access for anything that we record in advance, and that is most likely going to apply to the end of the year awards when we do that, because we usually record them pretty well in advance, and then I kind of stagger them day by day. I'm probably going to end up putting that as one of those things that people could do early in advance. But also we have dark casts, trying to knock out a little bit more of those. We might end up doing another one of those tonight of the AEW and WWE Survivor Series fantasy card that I had done. Same stuff is over there on the Patreon, so whichever you prefer. The difference is that if you do the YouTube side of it, then if we go live for the members only thing, you can join that. Patreon, you can't. And, that kind of deal. But, any of that stuff is greatly appreciated. Helps us out a lot. TeePublic and Redbubble are where you can pick up the merchandise, and that is pretty much on sale constantly for those 3 shops on A Mango Tees, Fanboys Anonymous, and Smark Moment throughout the whole rest of the year. So pick that stuff up if you are interested. Check out that other Darkcast, by the way, that I have mentioned, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. And keep in mind the Discord server is also another place where you can chat it up to, or Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. Somewhere down the line, if you get your opinion out there, I'll be able to read it. So yeah, I got a really good breath right there. That was good. What's not good is the situation that's going to happen with Nathan Frazer. That's because the NXT Tag Team Championship is on the line. The Supersonic Duo, Axiom and Nathan Frazer, aka Fraxium, as a lot of people like to do with the Rybaxel type Brangelina.
Why is that your fucking go-to, Rybaxel? Jesus.
Okay. I don't know. Ryback pops in my mind more than he should, probably. Look at the big man buffet. It's a regular thing. You're going to get a little somewhat big man buffet-esque match on the AEW WWE thing. But yeah, they are going to be defending their titles against the No Quarter Catch Crew's Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. And really quickly to mention this, even though it's something we're going to touch upon later, Nathan Frazer is also in the Iron Survivor Challenge match. So that means whichever match goes first, the second match that is a part of that is going to be something that's a real detriment to Nathan Frazer, which that makes me think, and this is where I'm going to backtrack a little bit. The men's Iron Survivor Challenge match, I think, is going to open the show.
I agree.
And I think we should talk about that and then talk about the tag titles. So Eddie Thorpe, Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Nathan Frazer, and Wesley. Those are the 5 that are in the Iron Survivor Challenge for the men's side, at least for now. And that is because even though Eddie Thorpe won the last chance qualifier match, the end of this episode of NXT that just passed by a couple hours ago from when we're recording this, that ended, well, let's put it this way. That ended differently for me than what it ended with a lot of other people. That's because it ended for me in, New York with the Pix 11 with Vic Joseph saying, "Oh, wait a minute, something's happening backstage in the locker room." And then it cut to, "All right, well, here's the news."
They said, "Fuck you."
They said, "We're not waiting until 10 o'clock. We're cutting you off at 9:59.
And yes, they did.
So I had to wait about 5 minutes or so to see the WWE Twitter account post the thing where Eddie Thorpe had gotten attacked backstage, and the only people that went, other than the referees, to go check up on him were the other 3 people that were in that match: Lexus King, Axiom, and Cedric Alexander, which tries to make you think one of those 3 was mad that they lost, and they are the attackers. Yet, I don't think that's the case. I know that you don't think that's the case, and I'm seeing a bunch of different theories out there. So, I mean, we are kind of hovering around the same 3 names.
Well, yeah, because for me, I instantly thought of Obafemi. Because I was instantly, earlier in the night, I was talking to my friend, and I was like, well, where the hell's Obafemi? He just disappeared after Halloween Havoc, and he really should have been leveling up to get that world title shot.
He should have been on Level Up.
He already was. He leveled up beyond that. But then everyone else, well, specifically in my work chat, Colin Tessier was like, actually, I'm going to do a full-on Eddie Thorpe being attacked because people are speculating that it's the bloodline. And the light bulb went off of, oh, yes, he did accidentally knock Ava down last week.
Even though he didn't. They're just acting like he did, and it's like
Shawn Michaels got more aggressive than I've ever seen him in character. Like, and then that's a shoot. Like, I don't know if Shawn Michaels in the 90s was pushing people up against, garage doors. Like, so it could be Talatonga. It could be Lance Anoa'i. Hopefully it's Talatonga. We've had him on our fantasy league teams for 5 years.
Yeah. Now, if it's Obafemi, I don't know why they would have had this be the way to put him in the match. I would think what would make more sense, and again, maybe this is just my personal preference, would be that Obafemi would attack somebody before the Last Chance Survival match and then be like, I wasn't given a chance and I want to be in this or something. Or they would make it, let's throw him in there and it's a 5-way or something. But they've done a mystery attacker thing with Jade Cargill. They did a mystery attacker thing with Jey Uso. And now it's Eddie Thorpe. Solved. So all 3 shows had, at least temporarily, in this past 2 weeks or so, a mystery attacker angle. Now, it's most likely Drew McIntyre for Jey Uso. But that was unnecessary. And now the Eddie Thorpe thing, I don't know. I mean, Obafemi doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me outside of the idea of wanting to get Obafemi in the match. And if that was the case, I think that they could have just very easily had him in a qualifier from the very start. And it could have just been, I don't know, Obafemi against Eddie Thorpe. And he beats Eddie. And then Eddie's in the matches. Yeah, that would have been probably it. He would have been one of the other guys, and somebody like Cedric or somebody wouldn't have been in there too. If it's the bloodline thing, then I'm curious about that too for multiple different reasons. One being, Ava's the only person. Well, I mean, I guess technically Nia Jax and Naomi. Ava would be the only other person that is bloodline related that they have kept completely away from the bloodline for this entire thing. And if they introduce somebody like Lance Anoa'i or Hikuleo at this point, and they just go hey, it's an Anoa'i, a part of the bloodline, and they are just on NXT, and they say, fuck Eddie Thorpe? You guys have been watching the Bloodline Civil War. That didn't bring you into the company, but Ava being knocked down by Bronco Nima and Mark Coffey?
Right, well, hear me out. Ava is the daughter of the final boss. I know
she's like a royalty kind of a thing.
Yeah, the Rock. It wasn't Ava. It's the fucking Rock going, this motherfucker hurt my daughter. Go kill him. That could be a thing. But also remember, they're not adverse to just having someone in the bloodline in NXT doing their own thing. Solo Sikoa was the street champ.
Street Fighter Solo Sikoa. Yeah, I forgot about that.
He was just I mean, he wasn't his daddy. He wasn't making a difference. but pretty close. He's just like, yeah, I'm Solo Sikoa. Yeah, my dad is Rikishi, and my brothers are like in the greatest faction on SmackDown right now. But never mind that, I'm doing my thing. Until they needed another Samoan. Then suddenly he became a silent assassin. Until they needed him
Then he started talking.
be a fake Roman Reigns, and then he started being a fake Roman Reigns.
By the way, very quick thing. I love that they've leaned more and more into Jacob Fatu just being like, I love you, Solo.
I don't know if I like that because it's just going to turn into a thing. It seems a little silly. But speaking of that, I don't know if I want this to be like a bloodline thing related to Ava, because as much as I loved the way that Raw was able to piggyback off of Survivor Series, and I thought the opening segment made a lot of sense with Seth, Sammy, and Punk, I don't know if I want all 3 shows to revolve around the bloodline.
Not even if somebody comes out and goes, I love you, Ava.
I mean, listen, I think if somebody does that, her dad, we should be healing. We should be healing things in 2024. But, I don't know. It's weird. It would explain why Shawn Michaels was panicky. Like, oh, fuck.
He's like, The Rock already doesn't like me.
Yeah, but would that not make more sense that Shawn Michaels just gets really aggressive out of nowhere for Ava?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, this is exactly the type of angle that they've done a million times in NXT, like the parking lot thing, the NXT Anonymous backstage footage, all that kind of stuff.
Has that died now?
I don't know, because, I mean, maybe they end up next week being like, and here's footage that NXT Anonymous had of like somebody doing that, and they kind of do the whole mystery angle again. But I think that this is going to be answered by the time we get to the pay-per-view on Saturday, and it's just going to be a means to throw Thorpe for a loop. And I really hope it's not something stupid. Like, he got attacked by Axiom because Axiom was mad that Fraser was in the match and not him and whatever. Or even worse, if it ends up being like Lexis King actually attacked him because he is a loose cannon and he just can't fight that urge to be like his dad.
That's not the worst thing that could happen. At least it makes sense.
But no matter what happens, the attacker shouldn't automatically get into the match. So that's another thing, is they don't have time to sort out who else gets in there unless they throw a random match on the pre-show. Because it really won't make any sense if it's Obafemi and it's like, Ava just goes, hey, what the fuck did you do that for? In fact, I'm going to reward you. Here you go. You got a shot.
Well, okay, but it doesn't have to. Let's go with the best of both worlds. Let's say the bloodline, by way of, Hikuleo, attacked Eddie Thorpe. And then, hey, Obafemi, we're calling you in because you've only really lost 2 matches ever. So go ahead, try your shot at the world championship.
I mean, I want Obafemi in the match.
On the win, I think Obafemi. Look, Obafemi should be winning the NXT championship at NXT New Year's Evil.
That's another thing that's weird too. They still haven't confirmed when New Year's Evil. They didn't do it
last year either.
It'll be stupid.
So it'll probably be what, January
7th,
8th? Oh yeah, 7th.
And it's probably going to be in Orlando, and it's, I mean, like, it, we can fill in the blankets like a possibility, but it's weird that they had just Wesley go hey, I'm going to win that, and I'm going to get my match at New Year's Evil, and that was the only mention that they've done of it.
Well, no, I knew that because of that's just the pattern for the last 2 years. So now you know. But
knowing is half the battle.
I don't know if they'll do a live episode on New Year's Eve, but it would be nice to have New Year's Evil on New Year's Eve.
I think supposedly that they're going to tape the NXT episode on let me check it out, December 19th, which is weird.
You're telling me, wait, that's great for us.
I mean, it depends.
Telling me there's only 2 episodes of NXT left?
Well, what's weird is December 19th is a Thursday. And if they record, you would assume the 24th, that airing, and then the 31st, then that knocks that out. But they are planning on doing some other stuff too. So it's like, I don't know if that's, they're just going to record an episode in advance or something. It seems like that's going to be the case. So it seems like they'll probably just record 2 episodes. So that's cool. I always like when that happens. That sounds awful. It's like, I always like when they record things in advance so I can read the spoilers and not have to watch the show of the thing that I enjoy.
See, I don't like that because you know what they don't tape? The backstage segments.
Yeah.
Then they always add like a bunch of news in them. I don't always love when it's taped.
Well, if they replace Eddie Thorpe, we don't know who he's getting replaced with. And if they keep him in there, then we can judge based off of that. And if they just take him out and it's beyond the 4 people, then that's Paige, Evans, Fraser, and Lee. To me, the only one that makes any sense is if it's Lee. Unless it's like, Hikuleo or something.
I just want to skip to the end here, and I want it to be Obafemi, and Obafemi wins, and Obafemi wins the title. But if I can't get Obafemi, and I have to go with one of the people announced, I'm going to say Wesley is probably the move to go with.
Either it's Wesley or they're saving Wesley for Stand and Deliver or like Vengeance Day or something. But I don't think that should be the case because they've already had plenty of the interactions before. They need some bigger things for those events.
You could do Javon.
Javon could very easily get that title match on the TV show and just be like, well, you had a good shot, kid, but now we're going to move on to like a heel for the next pay-per-view. Could happen. It's not going to be Fraser. There's no way it's Fraser. And I think that not only is he going to lose that, but I think that the fact that he's had that match is going to be the reason why they lose to the No Quarter Catch Crew and be a new tag team champions. And then that leads to the fracture of Fraxium. That was strangely alliterative. Of Axiom and Fraser butting heads because it's like Axiom's like, dude, you just had to go and do your singles match. We keep fighting about this and fuck you, pal. And, we can
Hey, Axiom, get good and win a match. How about that? Seriously, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
you had 2 chances, you lost. Like, it's okay.
A kid, more like D- kid.
Oh God! Wow.
Zing.
No, I think No Quarter Catch Crew. I'm gonna go a step further here. I think No Quarter Catch Crew is winning here, and I kind of think Ren's gonna sneak a victory in the Iron Survivor Challenge.
I was a little bit heading in that direction, not fully, but a little bit heading in that direction until this episode ended with Ren Sinclair holding the title over Roxanne Perez. Then I was like, all right, they already did the whole thing where she won by falling on top of Cora Jade. You compare her to Julia, Sol Rucka, Stephanie Vaquer, and Zarya. I think it's way too silly if she ends up beating them because those other 4, all 4 of them can easily have the next title shot against Roxanne. For the record, though, I'm going Sol Rucka. I think that Julia, Vaquer, and Zarya are all in this like triumvirate together where it's going to be strange if you put one over and not the other ones. So I kind of feel like Sol Rucka fights for the title at New Year's Evil, loses, and whether it's Vengeance Day or it's Breaking Point or whatever that's not Breaking Point, what do they call it? Spring Breakin' or Roadblock or whatever. Maybe they wait all the way until Stand and Deliver. I think we get Julia versus Vaquer versus Zarya versus Roxanne Perez.
Well, hear me out. I think Ren gets it here because of the visual of her holding up the title. Because before that, did anyone think Ren stood a chance? But if she's going to knock out the champ, well, maybe they're setting something up. That being said, though, Zarya is the last person to pin Roxanne.
And Vaquer's going to win over her too, right?
No,
Vaquer has a win tag team win or something?
Cora Jade.
Oh, okay. That's what
And everybody's got to win over Cora. For some fucking reason, Cora Jade's not in this match.
She's studying under the School of Axiom.
She's clearly just like Roxanne's sidekick, which is weird. You know, I don't know. I feel kind of strange about that. But I do think that it should just either be Ren or you give it to Zarya and then let Zarya beat her. If Ren wins, Ren's not going to beat her. If Zarya wins, she might.
Julia's got a shot at winning that title next. Vaquera's got a shot at winning that title next. Zarya could very easily. I don't think Sol Ruca will. So that's why I'm like, all right, I think they're waiting until Stand and Deliver for Roxanne. And again, it's in the same kind of...
It's December 4th at 12:53 in the morning. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, that's your fucking Stand and Deliver ladder match. The women.
Julia, Vaquera, Zarya, who else? You think?
Julia, Vaquera, Roxy.
Or
that's
maybe...
at least half of it. Cora. I'm going to guess Zarya, if she doesn't win here, will be headed towards Fallon Henley. And then I'll say the other two women are Kalani Jordan and Jordan Grace.
Oh, that's right. We got to factor Jordan Grace into this. Maybe that's actually why they haven't bothered to give this belt to Julia or whatever. Maybe they're just like, well, we're going to give it to Grace.
And that's your like, the NXT women's division is so fucking stacked. Here's a ladder match because we love those.
Yeah, that could be.
Remember this.
So backtracking just a moment. I'm not the biggest fan of No Quarter Catch Crew becoming the tag team champions, but looking at the grand scope of the tag team division.
Did you watch that Battle Royal?
Yeah.
Tag team division sucks.
It's not all that great. Yeah. So it's like, all right, well then who else would you want? Hank and Tank?
Oh, dude.
Not
One
really.
day they're going to be paired with Otis and it's going to be great.
Now that I would be okay with. Maybe throw in Tucker just as like a one shot, pick him up from whatever he's doing now. But yeah, like I don't like OTM. I am not thrilled at the idea of Gallus winning those titles back. So it's like, it really doesn't matter.
Give it to No Quarter Catch Crew. Let them establish a new era. Build up a babyface tag team, whether it's Hank and Tank or, you know,
Benofi Blade or something. Maybe even if you want to go back to that.
Get them back in the mix. Just put Ashante with that Deion Lennox kid. Look, that's my guilty pleasure. I love these stupid NXT romance storylines. They're never good, but they're always funny. Like they have options, is what I'm saying. Fuck, Javon and I'm telling you right now, if Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights can be as good as I think they are, Javon and Cedric against Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights is a fun time.
I wouldn't be opposed to that title change either.
You know? So you have options. Let's get it on No Quarter Cash Crew. I'm glad they're putting over Charlie Dempsey and his guys. They're great. I have fun watching them. And that's all that matters.
I'm not really too high on Miles Bourne, but Tavion Heights has some good moments here and there that makes me go, okay, well, you know, let's invest in him. And ran him on the fence for Dempsey I like, but, you know, Dempsey still has to prove himself in some ways too. Now, we also have another women's match, the NXT Underground match. Lola Vice challenged Jada Parker. That was just completely left open. They didn't bother to confirm it. And then after the whole thing that happened with Ren Sinclair, Lola Vice gets called out by Jada Parker, who then, like with like brick in her hand, is like, I'm interested in doing the match right now. And Ava comes out and says, no, let's wait till deadline. And out of all the things to do afterward, Lola Vice comes out and she's just like, yeah, I'm going to kick your ass. And Parker's like, all right, well, I don't need this brick anymore. And then bam, knocks out Lola Vice in one shot. I like know this is like partially to be like, oh, we want to make Jada Parker look like she could win this match and all. And then probably Lola Vice is going to win. And that's my pick. But to me, that made Lola look so stupid.
I fucking love this feud. I love this. Jada Parker to me is a star. Jada Parker is like, she has that intensity and that swagger that, like Bianca had when she came through, but she puts her own spin on it, and it's less glitz like Bianca, and it's more just straight up, I will find a way to fuck you up. And I really like what she's bringing to the table. Lola Vice is simultaneously one of the funniest characters, but when she needs to be, she can pull off badass thing, and I think she'll win here. And they're tied at one apiece, and then we get like a last woman standing at New Year's Evil.
I can see that.
But
or they just even ended at this and just go their separate ways.
Oh, they're 1-1. She won the street fight or the hardcore match. Lola wins here, then you do the rubber match.
I mean, ideally that's how that goes. Because if it's hardcore match, then underground, then you have to do some other kind of
some
brutality gimmick, steel cage or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a downside, but
But I really like the way they set this up. I like that Jada Parker refused to leave until the referee started taking down the ropes so they could do the underground match right then and there. I like that Jada Parker said, we're going to run this shit back on the CW network. I thought that was great. Made it seem like, oh, she's really pissed. She's a badass.
This one's a shoot.
Yeah, kind of. And if you're not 12, you're not going to fall for that. But if you are, you're like, oh my God, she's so fucking cool. I like what they're doing with these two.
And we got the most likely main event of Trick Williams defending the NXT championship against Ridge Holland. And I say most likely because they also did a stretcher angle where Ava went and left with Trick Williams, went to the hospital and was like, oh yeah, by the way, he's adamant that he still wants this match to go on. So I don't know why they did it like that on an episode that they were going to do the Eddie Thorpe thing. But if they just, the match was happening and that's what it is.
Well, it gets Ava out of the building. So she's not aware what happened to Eddie Thorpe.
Oh, you think that they're going to do like a mystery thing with that, like where Ava doesn't even know?
Well, Ava doesn't know. Ava wasn't there.
Remember, but now she, I wasn't even thinking that needed to factor in. I thought they would just be, because there should be cameras. I
mean, yes, but all we know is that someone appeared in the office, scared the crap out of Robert Stone and Stevie Turner, and then Eddie Thorpe was laid out.
And since they didn't do any Andre Chase University thing, I was like, oh, is this going to be Andre Chase? And then, no, they just cut.
That's interesting, by the way. We have not seen Thea Hale, Duke Hudson, or Riley Osborne.
Yeah. And we did that little Mr. Chase thing last week, and then they just didn't
follow up on that. Very interesting there. But no, I couldn't care less about this match.
It's not going to be great. Ridge Holland's going to lose, which that's at least what should happen.
Hopefully.
And then they'll just move on, hopefully, because, look, I don't dislike Ridge Holland, but he just doesn't have that feel of somebody that I want to see potentially win this title.
Did you see that New Day segment? I think many people have a reason to dislike Ridge Holland. Oh, God. I don't care. I hope Trick wins. The NXT men's main event scene is garbage. It's garbage.
It's not great.
We've had... look, Ethan Page I'll cut a little slack to because it was cool to see him get a shot. But the NXT main event scene this year has been Trick, Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, who doesn't even work there, Bubba Ray Dudley for what fucking reason, and Ridge Holland. What is this? I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't want this. I want to see this. Change the channel. Put put something else on in place of this, because your women at least give off the vibe that they're on fire. You know what I mean? And yeah, well, as we're learning in 2024, vibes are everything.
Yeah.
Fuck the truth, vibes are everything. Okay? And the vibes right now in NXT are women's division is red hot, men's division is kind of doo-doo. You know, and I think Trick deserves better. Maybe it heats up with whoever attacked Eddie Thorpe. Maybe we get lucky and we got a magical Obafemi championship reign on the horizon. Maybe we get lucky and we're going to get NXT champion Hikuleo in about a month. Who knows?
But we're both going, this is definitely a Trick Williams retaining scenario, unless it's some kind of weird oddball replacement story and they, for some reason, feel the need to take the belt off of Trick. But it's not going to go to Rich Holland. So this whole thing, not all that great for the championship, at least on that front. But outside of that and the tag team title thing, I'm excited about the Iron Survivor matches, even though they're overly complicated. And I'm interested to see what they end up doing going forward out of this. So even just the unknowns makes this a pay-per-view where I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm curious to see what happens and where they go from here.
I'm very excited for the show itself. The only match I can honestly tell you I couldn't care less about is the NXT title match. I like No Quarter Catch Crew, so I'm rooting for them to win there. I'm a big fan of the Iron Survivor gimmick, so I'm excited to see what they pull off. And hopefully it's just an exciting show, you know? Like, we're at the end of the year. We're at kind of like a stall point where, all right, Royal Rumble's right around the corner. And the only reason they're kind of sort of trying is because they know they have a lot to set up. But really, we just need to get to that Royal Rumble already.
Yeah. So, you know, it might be big storylines coming up soon. It might be weird choices where it's like, all right, they went with those people and they're going to be just kind of killing some time in New Year's Evil for a while or something. But we're not going to know until Saturday. So as per usual, we are going to have our updates on the hot tags if anything comes out before that. If not, then on Saturday night, live coverage of the pay-per-view. And then right after the premium live event is over, we'll have the Pay-Per-Viewpoint post show, talk about everything that happened and all, whether it's just me or if it's me and Rob, if he's able to. And, you know, we got AEW tomorrow. We got the SmackDown episode and stuff. You know, there's plenty more wrestling to talk. So you're going to be hearing from us in Darkcast, and then you're going to be hearing from the hot tags and all. You're going to get a lot of
from us in the Saturday Night Main Event preview.
Yeah, and that's coming up. And then, oh my God, we still have all that stuff. And we got all the other things that are on the schedule, which is too much to keep track of. But deadline, let's see what the timer was. I wasn't looking at it. We're at 33 minutes right now. Okay.
Boo you, boo.
I was kind of close for doing it on a whim. So, yeah, keep in mind that we also will have Fantasy League updates coming up soon. I know that, Rob, you won the
I did win. I got to make some changes. By the time you hear Callum on the hot tags, those changes will be made.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Thank you for reminding me, Tony.
We'll talk about that then. As I said, Darkcast is coming up. That's going to be the AEW versus WWE card that I created. And keep in mind the Fanboys Anonymous stuff and everything else you can find at the link tree. Go to amangotree.com. You'll find all those things, and you just hit the like button on those or the follow button or whatever it is on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, so on and so forth. I got to change this graphic around. I still use the Twitter graphics for everything, and I don't have Blue Sky added, but we'll see. So, yeah, follow me all over the place. I'm at Tony Mango for a good portion of them.
Yep, and follow Rob everywhere at Dude Felice. That's DUDEFELICE. It's that for everything. You type that into anything, you're going to find me. And that's a little concerning. It is what it is.
I've recently been doing the Google, like, remove your info things, that some kind of an alert thing that they just, like, send me an email about and said, like, oh, you could do this. And I'm like, oh, shit, really? I've been doing that, and it just keeps popping up. And, kind of an open book, but at the same time, it's creepy how much you can find things on the internet.
It's really scary, folks.
Yeah. Well, the aliens didn't come today on December 3rd, like some people were expecting. So I'm disappointed in that. But I'm hoping that I'm not disappointed in NXT deadline. So we'll see you this Saturday. In the meantime, stay tuned, everybody. Adios for now. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.